How's it going, everyone? It's Vivi, and welcome back to some Rehydrated. So lately, the producer at THQ Nordic was interviewed by a German digital magazine company called GameStar. There was a live stream back on June 2nd. A couple of days later, they re-uploaded just the gameplay portion of what they showed on Rehydrated that day. But you know, it's in German. So we're basically just gonna take a look at the visuals, the animations, and the differences we can notice visually. Alright, so first, let's take a look at Robo Patrick. The opening sequence, ladies and gentlemen. Every time I see cutscenes, I get all happy and stuff. SpongeBob looks much more lively. This really looks great. Hey, at least his arms don't move from their sockets anymore, looking back at the original. Notice that texture on SpongeBob's pants and Sandy's suit, that's very nice. As for Frozen Squidward, he no longer has snot coming out of his nose, and he's frozen in a different stance. The surroundings, it looks brighter, at least for the platforms you walk on. The background looks slightly darker. The area overall does have more of a creepy factor now. What's also different here is the HUD menu. We have a different icon for Robo Patrick. Not to sound nitpicky, but the ice cream he eats is actually green, but in the HUD it's yellow. I think the biggest concern people have when looking at Robo Patrick is the way he spins. The way he spins, it's much slower than the original. But that doesn't mean that the projectiles have been slowed down. They do move at the same speed. But I guess to make it easier, they have red targets now. You know, so you can easily pinpoint incoming attacks. Yeah, let's not forget that he looks much pinker now. I understand that Patrick is pink, but the old grayish pink gave off a more creepy factor, if I were to really compare the two. Next up is Kelp Forest. Yup, it's much more lush and vibrant green. This time the fog, which I always bring up in the background. In this area, at least, I guess it fits with the swampy feel. What do you think? The golden spatula now has a sphere, aura, around it instead of a basic glow. As for the citizen right here, the camera angle, as always, is different. And now this guy has a different colored mustache. The explosion seems to have a much bigger impact now. It looks bigger. The sky here looks much darker. I like the contrast they went with. They probably told themselves, hey, let's brighten up Kelp Forest, but darken the sky. It makes a nice mix, I find. Next, we have more of Goo Lagoon. It looks absolutely pretty. The added sunshine brightness is very neat as an addition. It's a beach after all, so more sun is more than welcome. When you jump on the swimmer's belly, it seems the original he jumped higher, or it's probably just me. But hey, when picking up tickies, you now get to see the B button, you know, a prompt telling you what button to press. And you have an arrow on top of those tickies instead of that hand signal, which you get on every object in the original. Now we take a look at downtown Bikini Bottom. We did take a look at it before, but I do want to point out a few things. This already seems to be a later build, compared to the earlier trailer we got back in May. Looking at the wheel underneath the platform, it has an aura now. Before, it was just a simple glow. Okay, but what if the simple glow was the later build, Vivi? Well, going back to the early trailer, you don't even have a sphere around it. So I'd like to assume that, yeah, what we're looking at right now is a newer build. Here too, when approaching tickies, you get a prompt on screen which tells you which button to press. SpongeBob's house is no longer hidden behind another building. I don't know if you noticed that one, but there it is. Kelp Forest with SpongeBob. The floor in this area no longer seems to be elevated. Instead of that, they went with the idea of taller grass. As for Mrs. Puff, looking around on the internet, there's other tidbits of footage in German still lying around. You can find more footage over on RidersDX's channel. This clip he posted. Well, it appears that Mrs. Puff no longer shakes as if she's on a high dose of caffeine. In the original, she was always shaking for some reason. When SpongeBob enters the porthead, you can see his silhouette now, I guess, not to confuse the player as to your whereabouts. So yeah, with that said, there's a couple of things left. Here, the cruise bubble button has a different icon as well. In the original, all switches had the same hand symbol. As for other things, the clip basically ends with Goo Lagoon and downtown Bikini Bottom. Looking at this section in particular, I remember when this robot, going back to one of the trailers, the robot would just disappear, like clip through the ground or something. I'm really glad they sorted that one out. So, if you want to check out the whole thing, I will put the link in the description below. So yeah, with that being said, guys, I believe this is it. I think I've said plenty. So as usual, you have questions, if I didn't miss anything interesting, feel free to mention it in the comments section below. And as always, I've been Vivi, and thank you so much for watching.